When it comes down to anime, we all have our specific preferences. Some of us like some good old slice of life, others love some good old combat action based, others like a mix of things. But when it comes down to ReZero, it sure has a following, with many of us having enjoyed both the first and second season. So with the third season being, well, a while, possibly a long while, before it is even announced, and with the current web novel going on a hiatus, Arc 7, I thought, why not go back to the roots of ReZero, back to the beginning, back to zero. This is Green Warrior 291, and I will be talking about ReZero, Starting Life in Another World from Zero, Season 1 review. The story of ReZero is one of Natsuki Subaru, the main protagonist of the story, being isekai to another world where he meets Emilia, the silver-haired half-elf. Sounds simple enough, no? Well, the story goes from what could be a generic isekai of main character is in a new world, gets powers, gets the girl, or girls if it's a harem type anime, and live a rather happy life. It goes from that concept into one of just total depression, sort of. Our main character, Natsuki Subaru, does have an ability, Return by Death. Basically, if he dies, he rewinds back to a checkpoint, similar to a game. If one dies, if you had a checkpoint saved, you'll go back to it. So he, a weak boy, compared to most characters that can literally destroy things with a few hits, is put through so many situations where without his ability, he would be permadead. Like 50 times over. Aside from that being the major role in the story, it's also one of a character-driven story, since we are watching our boy Subaru go through some hardships by overcoming the deadly bow hunter in the first arc, basically the first 3 episodes, dealing with gaining trust with the people from Roswell's mansion in the second arc, basically from episodes 4 through 11, and the entire hell that he deals with in the second half of the season, basically arc 3. Now, is the story good? Yes. Each moment that we watch on screen is important to the overall plot, with the plot for Season 1 revolving around Subaru's development, as we watch and go from zero to hero. Out of the ranking of this, it's for a story of ReZero, it's definitely a 10 out of 10 on the story department. In my normal reviews, I would normally talk about each individual character at a time, but for this series, I just can't without it being its own video. Well, for most of the main crew at least, such as Subaru, Emilia, Ram, Rem, Beatrice, Otto, Julius, even Roswell, and so on and so forth. Because they all just have, they're so complex, it's just hard to basically put it all in one video like this. So I'll just sum them up all together in a sense. Each character has their own complexities and their own struggles. Even if not shown as much, they are each unique enough to be different from one another. And because of the unique situation of having Subaru be in different loops, acting differently according to the situation, we see the characters also act differently depending on the situation. In one loop, they can show their most nefarious or very harsh side, as well as showing a much kinder side in a different loop. It all depends on the choices Natsuki Subaru makes. The characters around him will act differently if he acts a specific way. Even so, this helps paint a full picture with each character, seeing what type of person they are at their core, regardless of what different paths each loop takes. So, this makes characters of ReZero, a majority of them at the very least, have the score of 9 out of 10. Now, when it comes down to ReZero's music, it does not disappoint. There's some memorable ones, such as Chain of Memories. Yes, I noticed that the name is oddly from a Kingdom Hearts title, so that's funny. Call of the Witch, which honestly that one is the most memorable because of its ominous music and, well, what it even means. Timbre of the Beginning being one of the few more peaceful yet joyful type, despite, well, the nature of this show. Longing for Sunbeams being another peaceful one. Looking for the Light being down to earth with a hint of sadness and hope mixed, depending on the scenario that's being played in. Train of Thought with its mystery-like vibes. Sloth being, well, cultist, like, because for obvious reasons. And Tact of Heroes, which conveys determination from Subaru and Julius, two unlikely allies at that point in time. There's just so many other music so many other OSTs, but overall, it is for sure a 10 out of 10 in the music department. And this isn't even counting the opening and ending, which are in the next section. This part, we will keep it short, but when it comes down to visuals, the music, and how they basically give us an idea of what's going on with the story, it is intriguing. Between the two openings, I would prefer 2 over 1, but they're pretty good regardless, showing the main key players of the first core in the first one, while the second one elaborates more on the challenges and other characters Subaru will encounter. As for the endings, the music is phenomenal for both of them. Between the two, I would prefer the first one over the second one, but I won't discount that the second one is extremely amazing, hopeful, peaceful, so much, especially when the VA of Emilia is singing it, considering that Emilia is tone deaf, which is just hilarious. Anyway, 10 out of 10, no cap. In some animes, they have cut content that, well, stuff didn't make it in, or they had some changes that differ from the original source. Granted, it's mostly the former than the latter. In the case of ReZero Season 1, there's a few, but I'll go over the more bigger stuff, not in the specific order of which one was the most important or not, but just the some that are noteworthy. 1. An Emilia scene where she spoon-feeds Subaru after their conversation in the 4th loop of the mansion, basically right after he kind of wants to be left alone. 2. Priscilla and Subaru's rock, paper, scissors game when they meet. This one, it's more or less Subaru cheats to win because she keeps winning and taking his appas, and his reward is basically fondling her breast, and I don't know, I just find it funny. 3. Puck threatens the Council of Wise Men. This happens in the game. The game is ass.
Know your fucking place, trash.
4. Roswell attempts to kill Subaru while mentioning something around the likes of try better next time. Yes, this kind of makes it more obvious that Roswell knows what's going on. 5. The suspicion that Fell could be a missing member of the royal family. This has been a theory going around a lot. This just adds more fuel to the fire. 6. Puck mentions Echidna to Betelgeuse in the 3rd loop of the Arc 3 events, which causes more mention of the other witches of Sin. So a reference to things that are to come in the following season to this. So season 2. 7. Al and Rem's interaction in the 3rd loop of Arc 3. This was changed in the anime, cut off, but slightly changed as well. In the web novel and light novel, even in the fucking game, there is a conversation between the two where Al is angry that Ram is alive, or shows discontent about it. 8. The Shadow Garden in both arcs 2 and 3.
I'm going to save you!
Then after being knocked out, moments after Roswell saved them from the Maw Beast, and after being killed by Julius due to him being possessed by Sloth. And many others, as well as the fact that the web novel had an extra loop when dealing with Betelgeuse directly after the White Whale incident. So rather than having 2 loops dealing with Betelgeuse, it's 3. Even with some of these cut content, which I could argue some could have helped make the mystery of ReZero pop out more, the story somehow manages to make things intriguing without them. This ability is something that connects the story together, since it is the one thing that allows our character to still be on the alive status. Now, many would say that it takes the tension away and that there's no stakes because, well, if he can go back, then you can fix things and
infinite life? Then how is the game even hard? What's the point if he can just play?
Then blah blah blah. First of all, the ability fucking hurts Subaru since he does feel that fucking pain.
All I can do is die and die and die and die. Each death more painful than the last.
So I don't know about using that and abusing it. Second, it most certainly has tension since he knows things that he realistically shouldn't, which makes him an ally or a threat depending on how he acts and conveys the information. Such as when he tried to ask Krush for help to stop the witch cultists from harming those in the mansion as well as those in Arlem Village. Even when he was telling the truth on this matter, he not only had vengeance written over him, but also made Krush question where the hell did he get this information, because there's only one realistical way that they know of. So, return by death within itself is a curse. It may keep the character alive and help him, well, basically keep others alive, but at the same time, he must keep the burden of having watched everyone from a previous loop and everyone he cares about and loves die in some gruesome fucking ways, while also not being able to tell a single soul about this ability, unless he wants to suffer the consequences for it and break the taboo. So, as an ability that is not only necessary for the plot, but also for our boy Natsuki Subaru and his progression, it definitely is something to keep note that it is quite one hell of an ability. The world of ReZero, it is something to note that the story does go out of its way to show us, well, the world itself, such as the capital, Roswell's mansion, the forest, well, where Arlem Village resides, Flugel's tree, and some other interesting facts about the world. How the kingdom has a pact with the divine dragon, the way Lagunica is run, the Witch of Envy lore, some of the way magic works, and so many other things. Although most of this ain't really a part of the main story at times, like it would be told, and then whenever it's important, such as the Flugel tree, then it becomes more or less part of the story. But the fact that there's so much the ReZero world has to offer to the audience, so much lore, so much world building, so many things that keep it going, it's like an endless thread, then yeah, this section gets a 9 out of 10 for sure when it comes down to world building. Overall, ReZero is one of those successful animes that has a fan base, that has a following. Yeah, there are people who don't like ReZero. There are people who criticize Subaru, who criticize the story how it is, Return by Death. They don't think it's, well, tension. There's so much that people could criticize of Season 1, but the thing is, Season 1 has characters that have so much to offer. The scenarios that they're put in are engaging to watch. The music is honestly pretty memorable and fits well with the scenes that it's placed in. There's also so much that can be explored past this season, like prequels and stuff. There's so much, and yeah, the next one that I'll do a review on tends to elaborate even more into the ReZero story. Hell, the light novel and web novel proves this with the amount of detail Taipei puts into these stories. Like, it can be slow at times, but there's always a purpose to what's going on. That I can guarantee it. So overall, ReZero, starting life in another world from zero, has a 9.8 out of 10. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this review, and I'll see you. Wait a minute. Where am I? I'm just about to end the video. Where am I? Ah, fiddlesticks.